This time, when his chair recognizes Councilman Taubenberger, who will present a resolution recognizing Second Lieutenant John Edward James Jr. in the Museum of the American Revolution. Would the Second Lieutenant John Edward James Jr. and those accompanying him please join the councilman at the podium. And joining Councilman Taubenberger, we have Councilman Greenlee, Councilman Jones, Councilman Green, and Councilman O. And Councilman Johnson.
Good group here.
And Councilwoman Bass. And Councilwoman Lionel Reynolds Brown, and also Councilwoman Blackwell.
Mr. President, thank you very much. As a city councilman, I get to see a lot of things and get to meet a lot of people. But nothing has moved me so much as what I witnessed over the summer in Lieutenant James Jr. becoming a second lieutenant. This is a wrong that was righted, but it took about 75 years. The Army was segregated. Most everyone knows that. That was wrong. Today it is a diverse group that is the pride of this country, showing every aspect and every ethnicity that the United States has. Because what collects us as Americans is not a race or group or a religion or anything like that. It's an idea for freedom. And Lieutenant James serves that. It also motivated me because it was the last act of World War II that you could possibly see. Someone getting a promotion. 75 years that they should have gotten it before. What also motivates me, and people know that I like history, my ancestors, my mom and dad, come from Germany. Lieutenant James and people like him, men and women, brave men and women, liberated my ancestral homeland. Today, Germany stands as a great democracy, allied with other democracies working out the problems of the world. And what is very interesting, this is very ironic, and I'm a little off script, but maybe it's the Lord working. We have a group of students from Frankfurt, Germany here today because Frankfurt, Germany is our sister city. And I would like to ask those students to stand and be recognized as well, because this fits in very well. Ein herzliches Willkommen zur Stadt Philadelphia. And Sie sind hier in historischen Zeiten. You're here in historic times, because what you're about to see and see a man be honored for help liberating, bringing a democracy to Germany. And because of that democracy, we have a great relationship between Philadelphia and Frankfurt. A resolution honoring and recognizing Second Lieutenant John Edward James Jr. for his service during World War II, and recognizing the Museum of the American Revolution chairman and acting CEO General John Jumper for righting the wrongs of the past and helping to commission Private John Edwards James to second lieutenant. And as a person, I was honored to be in that room at that moment. Whereas Edward James Jr. was born in Johnstown, Pennsylvania.
Whereas Mr. James began serving in the United States Army at the age of 21 in 1941 as a private, bravely serving in a total of 5 overseas campaigns and serving his country with distinction and grace. And
whereas throughout Mr. James' service in the U.S. Army, he received a total of 5 war medals, including a Good Conduct Medal, American Defense Service Medal, American Campaign Medal, a World War II Victory Medal, and a European African Middle Eastern Campaign Medal. And
whereas in 1942, Mr. James completed his officer candidate training at the infantry school at Fort Benning, only one of 21 out of 200. Mr. James should have been commissioned as a second lieutenant and assigned to the 142nd Quartermaster's Battalion. And
whereas his commission as a second lieutenant in the 242nd Quartermaster Battalion would have put him in charge of white officers, leading to his commission being denied, with Mr. James remaining a private.
Whereas, after his family pursued the issue for years, the Deputy Assistant Secretary of the Army official declared that the Army would approve Mr. James' commission on March 2018, and
whereas, to honor this momentous occasion, the Museum of the American Revolution, with its board chair and acting CEO, General John Jumper, decided to hold the commissioning ceremony at the museum to celebrate the event and to help right the wrongs of the past. And
whereas Mr. James comes from a family of patriots, his great-great-great-grandfather served during the American Revolutionary War as a sergeant in the Continental Army and was at the Valley Forge encampment in 1777 through 1778, and
whereas another relative during the American Revolutionary War was a farmer and provided supplies to the Continental Army. Lastly, another relative served during the War of 1812 as a private in the 2nd Regiment of Bolivar's Virginia militia, fighting to maintain America's freedom, and his grandfather served in the 1st U.S. Colored Infantry during the Civil War. And
whereas helping to right the wrongs of the past and honoring our veterans are a few of the things we can do as a legislative body.
Therefore, be it resolved by the Council of the City of Philadelphia, it hereby congratulates Second Lieutenant John Edward James, Jr. for his recent commission and thanking him for his service during World War II, as well as thanking General John Jumper and the Museum of the American Revolution for hosting the commission.
Further resolved that an engrossed copy of this resolution be presented to Second Lieutenant John Edward James, Jr. as a sincere expression of the Council of the City of Philadelphia's gratitude, admiration, and recognition. Congratulations.
We would like to extend sincere gratitude to the councilman and to this body for this recognition. My father is very proud to be an American because only in this country can injustice be rectified. Now, the wheels of God may grind slowly, but they grind exceedingly fine. Thank you very much. For those who may not know, he turned 98 in June.
We're going to take some pictures.
Wait.
We're going to take some pictures in the front.
In the front.